Good morning, everyone. It's Mo with Mornings with Mo, and it is the 23rd of July, and we have a lot of stories for you. And sorry for your loss, Tamara. I know some of these news stories can hit us in places that we didn't think. I've had some times where I'm reading some of these stories and I'm like, I'm not crying, you're crying, darn it. Good morning, Slinky and Greedy Bloke and Gamer 2. Good morning. Well, our first story is about a Hemingway lookalike contest, which I didn't know there was one, but I think I'm going to sign up Mr. Mo for it later. I'm just saying. Bearded, burly Ernest Hemingway doppelgangers compete for a lookalike prize. Does it come with alcoholism and yelling at the sea? I mean, I'm just asking for a friend. It was the old man and a sea of clones. New York Post, I really am going to start finding you for these puns. I really am. Good morning, Nana Goat and Jedi Jess. Uh, Contestants at the local watering hole Sloppy Joe's bar, one of the celebrated writer's favorite hangouts, celebrates what Hemingway called mainland America's southernmost point, his home in the 1930s. More than 120 white bearded contestants came in the hopes that the bell would toll for thee on Sunday after the preliminary elimination rounds earlier this week. After 10 previous attempts, 71-year-old David Bat Masterson, a retired helicopter pilot from Daytona Beach, was crowned this year's Papa, a nickname given to the novelist during his life, according to the Associated Press. So here's real Hemingway, and do we have a picture of fake Hemingway? I mean, I don't know. Honestly, this guy looks like Santa Claus. Oh, Twisted Logic? Awesome. Me too. And then I'm going to show it on my Fluffy to Fit video, but I got this. It looks like a game of Simon, but you put on punching gloves and punch. Now, I am not ready to join Cobra Kai, but it is a fun workout. And I can almost sort of tell my left from my right sometimes. Hemingway's spirit of adventure. He loved big game fishing across the globe, along with baseball, boxing, bullfighting, and plenty of drinking. It's another major part of the competition. I think it's the split, and I think that's what's fun. His great grandson, Stephen Hemingway Adams, said of those admiring the late author's writing and outdoorsmanship. Masterson himself says he has a thirst for life and a quest for adventure as well, he told CBS Miami. Oh, they even run with bulls. Oh my, y'all, we are having a chat field trip because this looks like the funnest people watching event. I will people if we get to no, it's like, so it's this thing you put on the wall, and then it's got like little pads all around it, and it'll light up to a certain pad and you're supposed to punch that. I don't know. I will show it. Look, as the most non-coordinated person, it's probably the closest I'm going to come to a contact sport. And Mr. Mo wouldn't let me get a heavy bag yet. He said I had to be diligent with punching this thing before I could get a heavy bag. And I was like, sweetie, we have 3 teenage girls in this house and I'm in perimenopause. Get me the goddamn heavy bag. But I have to show diligence still, which I figured the hormones would have sold it, but frugality and budgets and all that. The winner said he likes to fly, ride motorcycles, jump out of airplanes, and that sort of stuff. And Hemingway was a very adventurous man, and I admire him for that. The competition also featured a pretend running of the bulls down the street of the tourist aisle. I mean, you know, I am willing to make a chat field trip to go see men riding on paper mache bulls down a street in red berets in various levels of Santa Claus bod type. I really am. Good morning, Wicked Wookie and Terry D and Audio Coffee. In other news, a Nigerian artist aims for a world record at a largest individual drawing. Now, y'all, I cannot draw. See, Sarah Boone and this woman are making me feel bad about myself because Sarah Boone was able to make a whole line poster with no uphill, downhill wiggliness in her letters. And this woman was able to make an entire football field sized, thing of art. I'm sad. Nigerian artist Fola David is seeking the Guinness World Record for the largest drawing by an individual after spending 6 days on his piece. I thought that was a woman, but apparently Fola is a man's name. See, learn something new every day. Spending 6 days on his piece in the stadium in commercial capital of Lagos. I mean, it's a beautiful picture. David is also a medical doctor. He says his 1,050 square meter Unity in Diversity artwork showing 2 giant hands holding Nigeria's map was meant to showcase the country's cultural heritage. Nigeria is Africa's most populous nation, made up of about 250 distinct ethnic groups and split roughly equally between Muslims and Christians, with ethnic frictions common. Interesting. I mean, he's doing a beautiful job. I'd get about halfway done and I'd be like, I'm done. I need a nap. Our diversity should be seen as something that unites us, as something that strengthens us, rather than something that should create a divide between us. Now, all right. I have a question that only the whiteboard can answer because this confuses me. This doesn't make English sense or literal sense. So if diversity means that we all think different things, so we're all everywhere over here, and we all have diverse things about us, how does diversity connect us other than we're kind of nebulously there? You need something that connects you to all the people. I mean, am I smoking glue? I mean, don't you generally want to point out the things that make us more human and more relatable to each other? I'm not saying don't celebrate the things that make you unique, but diversity it just doesn't make English sense. You cannot take diverse things and lump them in a group and say, well, they're all diverse, but they're sitting in the same container, so they are united. But I'm thinking too hard for a puff piece. The whiteboard of truth is like, you're overthinking it. David said after completing his work on Sunday night, the Guinness World Record body has been informed and will need to certify his work if he is to surpass the record set in 2021 by Indian artist Ravi Sawhney, who drew a 629.98 square meter piece. Well, there you go. Now, don't get this woman angry because, she's got a little bit of crazy eyes on her. What in the televangelist am I looking at here? Tough on crime mayor allegedly bit her husband, attacked him with a gasket cleaner during a DV incident over a marital issue. Oh, I just thought that was I thought that was a wood chisel-y thing. That's a gasket cleaner? Okay. Well, I've never seen a gasket, so I don't know what it does. So if they said it's a gasket cleaner, they're law and crime. But yeah, that is a Home Shopping Network haircut, and they probably are deeply in debt because she has bought all of the Home Shopping Network. A Massachusetts politician who has often pledged to take a bite out of crime is now allegedly a criminal herself. Darn it, how does that always work? For allegedly biting her husband during an argument over the weekend. Well, I mean, sometimes you revert full back to toddler when you're angry. Tanya Taunton Mayor Shauna O'Connelly, 54, stands accused of one count of assault and battery on a family member, a misdemeanor, one count of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, a felony, according to the incident report by the Taunton Police Department. Massachusetts, what in the hell are you doing? Seriously, Massachusetts, we need to have a talk. You're beginning to become the Wisconsin of the East Coast, which is Wisconsin is the Florida of the Midwest. You don't want to be the Florida of the East Coast, do you, Massachusetts? The mayor's husband called the police Friday night, police said. The topic of the argument was said to have been a marital issue. Eventually, the argument, quote, ended up turning physical, according to the report. Ted O'Connell's 911 call related to an active disturbance that was at a residence on Worcester Street that was possibly involved a crowbar. Ma'am, did you go full Tanya Harding on your husband? Oh, taunting. Okay, sorry. Thank you. Taunting. Well, how am I supposed to know? They don't. JKD Buck, they should put pronunciation guides in there. I can make myself look like an ass all by my own self. Taunting. Well, thank you so much, JKD Buck. Let's see here. The document goes on to clarify that the alleged crowbar in question was actually a black-colored gasket scraper. A gasket scraper is typically more akin to a screwdriver. Mr. O'Connell stated during their argument his wife Shauna had bit him on his left forearm, then proceeded to grab a small type of crowbar gasket cleaner and struck him on the head, or struck him with it on his right-handed knuckle area. While speaking with Mr. O'Connell, the undersigned sergeant did observe an open wound. She bit him to where it got opened? What in the actual hell? Ma'am, you have so many germs, he's going to have to be checked for rabies. And scabies, maybe. I don't know. Those are some Manson lamps. After an initial assessment, the husband declined two police offers medical attention and filing an emergency restraining order. Dude, sir, Mr. O'Connell, have them take her, change the locks, and kick her behind out. This woman is nutty. And as a fellow fallopian tube, well, parts of fallopian tubes having person, I can tell you, this is the type of crazy that escalates. GTFO her behind, okay? Do not let her back. She looks like 90 pounds crazy, but that 90 pounds of crazy can become 120 pounds of nuts, and you just don't need that. Or alternately, drain your bank accounts, change your names, and don't look back. Obviously, this is not legal advice. I'm a redhead who jokes around on the internet. But those would be my two options. Rusty Shackelford is always my name of choice. If you'd like to change it, you are free to use it. Mr. O'Connell went on to state that he attempted to leave the residence in his vehicle, at which time his wife jumped on the hood of his vehicle, so he is not able to leave. Oh, he must be a patient person, because if I am done, like, I'd be... I can just imagine myself if I had to deal with her driving 10 miles an hour to the police station with her on my hood. Because done Mo is just not, she is not one to not, end what she finishes. She would just, here you go, have her. I don't want her. If I did observe a small dent on the front portion of the hood that also bent, and a bent broom in the driveway. It asked if he'd been hit by a broom. The husband said he did not, but his Porsche probably was. The officers were given permission to enter the O'Connell residence. Police said, at first, the defendant allegedly said she had no intention of opening an upstairs door when the police asked. While speaking through the closed door, I was able to look through the small crack and observe Shauna on the phone. She did not appear to have any injuries. The mayor was then quizzed about what happened generally, according to the report. She said she didn't know. Then she was apprised of her husband's statement about the attack and asked if she wanted to, maybe change her story a little bit. Again, she allegedly said she did not know. She is going the ninja spiders route, and, Jody did. After being asked what caused her husband's injuries, the mayor allegedly said she did not know yet, but later added he'd been verbally abusive to her. Right. He said mean words like, "Why are you spending so much money on the home shopping network? We need to stop your Amazon card." And she bit him because it was like, she's like, "No, it's Prime Day. Arr." What is going on here? And also, words do not mean you get to lay hands on anyone, ma'am. I thought as a tough on crime person, you should know. While the defendant was being questioned, the chief arrived, according to the report. The chief was told there was probable cause to arrest the mayor on DV-related charges and relayed the information to Shauna O'Connell, the incident report says. After grabbing some shoes from downstairs, the mayor was handcuffed and led outside, according to the police. Upon exiting the residence, she attempted to see her husband again and began yelling towards him. I'm sure things like, "I love you," "You're great," "Sorry I bit you," "I promise to never attack you with a, gasket cleaner again," or something. Connell previously served several terms as a Republican state representative. She won, of course. She won her first election by 31 votes against a Democrat who she accused of being soft on crime. Hoisted on her own petard. I love these politicians. During her time in the legislature, she cast herself again as a tough on crime conservative. Well, maybe she's like, "I'm tough and I am going to do a crime." As a representative, she pushed for the reinstatement of the death penalty, introduced legislation to lock up illegal migrants, and railed against a judicial nominee who supported criminal justice reform. Massachusetts has a reputation for being soft on crime, and unfortunately that hurts our public safety. Daggone it, when my own words come back to haunt me, she's probably thinking. Now Ted O'Connell is appearing to have second thoughts. "I apologize for sir, and I am being truly serious. Your wife bit you and came at you with a potentially deadly weapon. I understand that you are trying to pretend everything is normal. You don't want the absolute shame and embarrassment of this being splashed all over the media, but be brave. Johnny Depp was brave. I know it's not easy. I know it's not, but don't stay with someone who does this to you. Whatever problem, whatever hole she is trying to fill with, this outrageous behavior, it's not something you can fix. And these things escalate. So if this alleged thing happened the way you said it, be safe, leave." Let's see. Shauna O'Connell bemoaned the imposition of law in her own life in a statement echoing her husband's words on the TV station. Quote, "Like all couples, we have marriage challenges," the mayor said. "We've been working through issues, and during an argument, Ted involved the police and regrets making that decision." Now, as a person who's been in a relationship like that, she has deflected any personal ownership of her involvement onto Ted. Ted is the one who made the bad choice to call the cops. It's really just Ted's fault. Ted was saying mean things she didn't want to hear, so she had to react. This is the same kind of BS that most people who are abusers use. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Please get out if you see these red flags. A special prosecutor will be assigned to the case in order to avoid any conflict of interest, the Bristol County District Attorney's Office said. In court, the mayor pled not guilty to both charges by way of her defense attorney. She was released on her own recognizance and ordered not to abuse her husband. Well, I mean, I would think that would kind of be in your marriage vows, but maybe she'll take it from the court. Looks like we found some fire bugs. Not that that's going to help. Good morning, Christine. And Christine, I am heading to the post office today, so I should be able to get you guys tracking information, and if Jill Sturgis is looking or lurking, I need you to send me your address so I can send out your cross stitch project. That's the only address I haven't gotten, so I will be sending those out today. Authorities arrest 2 suspects for allegedly sparking a forest fire with unlawful yard equipment. Oh my God, did they have a souped up John Deere? Is this the famed John Deere that took our 2 maturely figured lady loves across the, farmland in the Chandler Halderson case? It's just been souped up. What is going on here? A pair of Florida men who allegedly sparked wildfires by using powered lawn equipment in dangerous conditions are arrested and recently charged. The fires were reportedly caused by a riding lawnmower and a weed whacker. No one was injured and no structures were damaged, according to multiple reports, including the Mercury News and the San Francisco Chronicle. On July 3rd, a man was weed whacking in Lake County around 3 p.m. when it was 105 degrees Fahrenheit and 10% humidity. I am not finished with my current one, but I will be doing more giveaways. I just have to continue to be a nevish sort of person that can't sit with my hands still. So I might could have ordered some more kits for my birthday because I need 84 more kits, as you know. Allegedly in Minecraft, Mr. Mo. And who the hell is weed whacking in 105 degrees Fahrenheit? That is a no. On July 6th, the man was reportedly mowing in Sonoma County at 11:19 a.m. when it was 99 degrees and 22% humidity. They allegedly sparked the Adams and Pocket fires. For the love of all that is holy, Mo, read. Good morning, Grumpy Granny. Cal Fire spokesperson Jason Clay said the former incident violated defensible space perimeters and called the latter irresponsible per KTUV. The agency added in a news release that it will enact maximum enforcement on human-caused wildfires, started with chainsaws, grinders, welders, tractors, and trimmers. The first man was charged with 3 misdemeanor violations of the Health and Safety Code and Public Resource Codes. The second was charged with unlawfully causing a fire of a structure or forest land, a felony, and 3 misdemeanor violations of the aforementioned codes. The Adams fire burned 16 acres, caused an evacuation order and 2 evacuation warnings, and endangered multiple structures, while the Pocket fire burned almost 11 acres. Air and ground firefighters were required to contain the blazes. Both of these fires started from improper use of equipment in bad conditions, Clay told the news. We've been in red flag extreme fire conditions for more than a week. In the case of the Pocket fire, people really have to be aware when you are in these conditions. It means really hot temperatures and really low humidity. That's when these fires can happen. And if you're working at those times of the day when you shouldn't be or using things improperly, we're going to enforce those laws when those fires happen. In addition to the risk to life and property, fires pose health and environmental hazards. Inhaling smoke can be as bad as lighting up half a pack of cigarettes, and it can cause long-term damage to your heart and lungs. So if you're in California and it's hot as hell and low humidity, don't go out there with a flamethrower or a weed whacker or a John Deere souped up to, scoop your lady love up to your above ground pool. And what in the Walmart rapture is going on here? Teen girl missing for 2 months, engaged to a 44-year-old stranger before being found. What in the absolute Snake Island degeneracy is going on here? Because can I tell you, Again, it would be one of those things where Mr. Mo would have to hold my collar, and I'm like an angry little terrier, like, "Arr," and he's like, don't make me let go, she will do the windmill." Like, she's not athletic, but she's a ball of crazy if you mess with her kids. A teenage girl, this one right here, who has been missing for nearly 2 months after she vanished from her family's Michigan home in May, was found Sunday living with and engaged to an older man she just met. Yeah, no. Absolutely, that's a negative Knight Rider. Nope. No, no. Penelope Penny Wise. Who the hell Okay, you know what, sweetie? I see why you ran. Okay, the parents that named this kid Penny Wise. Who What in the Stephen King shenanigans madness, if you've actually read that book and the whole chapter about the children sewer scene, I will say no more. But you named your child Penelope Wise. She is 17. She is 17. Was reported missing by family members after she ran away from her Cedar Springs home on May 31st, around 6 p.m., according to Kent County sheriffs. She was last seen on the security footage walking alone near a bar in Rockford around midnight on June 1st. Wise apparently met her 44-year-old now fiancé the same night. I mean, it sounds like true love or a felony and bail money for mama. The brave-faced teen was believed to have voluntarily left her home, but the nearly 2 months since she was spotted near the bar, there was not a trace of the girl anywhere. She had not been seen by either bystanders or security cameras in the area, leading to a massive search effort by investigators from the FBI, U.S. Marshal Service, Michigan State Police, and Rockland Department of Safety. We believe she intentionally walked away from home, but due to the length of time and no sightings, KCSO, or Kent County Sheriff's Office, and her family are concerned about her well-being, the Sheriff's Office said in a June 7th update. Despite backup from other law enforcement agencies and volunteers and additional on-the-ground searches, also an open tip line for information about Wise, investigators had no leads into her disappearance until Sunday morning. An observant community member called the police around 11 a.m. after seeing the girl riding a bike and recognizing her from missing persons flyers. Investigators responded and learned that Wise had been living with the unnamed man, 27 years her senior, since the night she ran away from home. No, see, y'all, they would have to put me in the back of a car because no, this is a baby. This is a baby who still has braces. Nope. She had first met him around 2 a.m. on June 1st and had been living in his house from the same day until this past Sunday when she left the home on the bike and was spotted by a resident. Investigators also learned that Wise and the man had gotten engaged in the time between her disappearance and this weekend. They said that the teen girl was located safe and the sheriff's detectives are still investigating the case. The Kent County Prosecutor's Office has not authorized any charges against Wise's new fiancé. Look, Penny, if you are watching this, I know this guy seems like the answers to all your prayers right now. He's older. He probably, makes you feel really, really special and beautiful and all that stuff. But sweetie, the reason that a 44-year-old man wants to hang out with a woman so young is because no woman in their 20s or 30s is going to deal with his BS. He knows that he can mold you into something and make you deal with a lot of red flag stuff that other women would not put up with. Please think really hard before you marry this guy. Good Lord. In other news, this guy's probably going to get sent to Japan for, you know, doing all sorts of Antifa like stuff to whalers. Anti whaling campaigner Paul Watson arrested in Greenland. He faces possible extradition to Japan. Greenland police said they apprehended veteran environmental activist and anti whaling campaigner Paul Watson on an international arrest warrant issued by Japan. Let's see. Uh, he is the former head of Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, whose direct action tactics include high sea confrontations with whaling vessels and have drawn support from A-list celebrities and have been featured in the reality television series Wars. He was arrested Sunday when his ship docked in Nuuk, Greenland's capital, and a police statement said he later appeared before a district court to look into a request to detain him pending a decision on his possible extradition to Japan. Whale meat is an element of Japanese food culture, and the government says it supports sustainable use of whales. On Monday, Captain Paul Watson Foundation said an emailed comment that the veteran environmentalist would be detained in Nuuk until at least August the 15th, according to the court's decision, to give the Danish Justice Ministry time to investigate the case and possible extradition. He faces a maximum of 15 years in prison in Japan, and Japan has a 99% conviction rate. If they have a case on you, you is not going to win, okay? But I have seen Whale Wars, and he does have a lot of tactics that do mirror sort of the Antifa kind of the ends justify the means. So I do think that they would probably have a probable case against him. I think there were better ways than what he was doing. I understand that the loud, splashy way gets the more. But he went at it in a way that was dangerous, that could have hurt people. And once you cross that line, once you get, you say it's okay to go just a little toe over, you have really zealous people. Whales are awesome. Everyone wants to save a whale. People will justify going further and further and further. There's a reason that, people say, hey, well, okay, so smart people, when certain things happen, are like, no, I am not going to meet in a centralized place with a bunch of other yahoos because I see that it could be, a trap, if you will. His foundation also said that the Greenland court would not allow Watson's release on bail because he was considered a flight risk. The foundation described more than a dozen police officers boarding the vessel and leading Watson away in handcuffs when it stopped to refuel. The foundation said the ship, along with the 25 volunteer crew members, was en route to the Northern Pacific on a mission to intercept a new Japanese whaling ship. The arrest is believed to be related to a former red notice issue for the captain for previous anti-whaling interventions in the Antarctic region, the foundation said in an emailed statement. We implore the Danish government to release Captain Watson and not entertain this politically motivated request. I think Japan has, okay, when you are too radical for Greenpeace, that's when maybe you have crossed the line. I think that he is going to get taken to Japan. I think Japan has enough sway that they're going to say, hey, it's time for him to face some justice. And I think they're going to send him. For someone who needs justice and Snake Island more than anyone else I've ever seen sometimes, a woman calls 911 400 times over bogus emergencies for ambulance rides. I mean, I've been in an ambulance once. It was not fun. I did not enjoy it. I'm sure my insurance did not enjoy the $70,000 they charged them for me to ride in it. A truth-challenged Ohio woman pled guilty this month to calling 911 hundreds of times over fake emergencies for the thrill of getting countless ambulance rides. I mean, I guess you have to have something to do on a Wednesday. Okay, chat, is she okay, I'm gonna tell you what I'm seeing, but I'm going to draw it on the whiteboard of truth so I don't get canceled. But is anyone else seeing this particular bit? Am I mean, am I the only one that's just seeing a very defined, Adam's apple and jawline? I am upset because I try to do those buns all the time, and I have issues with those, so I will call shenanigans on the buns, but let's see here. Kesha Kennedy has placed a massive strain on the emergency services in the city of Zanesville, diverting critical resources away from people in actual need with bogus phone calls dating back to 2020, the Muskingum County Prosecutor's Office said. In one case, the South Zanesville Fire Department was unable to respond to a call involving a person who couldn't breathe and later died because they were occupied transporting the 34-year-old fabulist to the prosecutor's office, or the prosecutor's office said. Kennedy called 911 nearly 400 times, sometimes several times a day, and would complain about various illnesses. The prosecutor's office said she effectively used first responders for her personal entertainment for ambulance rides to the hospital, but when she was there, her doctors would give her a clean bill of health. Each transport and visit was footed by the taxpayer through Medicaid. A forensic psychologist who evaluated Kennedy said she demonstrated a factitious disorder, which means she is a liar. Muskingum County Assistant Prosecutor John Little said in court. She pled guilty on July 12th to charges of disrupting public services, false alarms, both felonies, and 25 other misdemeanor counts of misuse of the 911 systems. Kennedy's bizarre behavior has been on display in at least 4 other counties in Ohio, including in Licking County, where she pled guilty to misusing the 911 system in 2023. One preposterous case, officers responded to a report at Licking Memorial Hospital with, okay, can we just talk about maybe not naming your county Licking and also Licking Memorial Hospital? uh, where she pretended to be unable to stand or walk, prosecutors said. When she was finally helped to a bench, she faked being unconscious. Well, she really went for the gold. I mean, if you're going to pretend to be sick, go fully unconscious. And then when she woke up, she claimed she didn't understand the rights that were being read to her because she was disabled. Yeah. I mean, I only laugh because absolutely there is something going on in this person's mind that makes them think that this is okay. But, no, being dumb is not a disability. It's just a current condition a lot of people are suffering from, and then I suffer from having to be around them. Doctors at the hospital quickly threw cold water on her outrageous assertion. Little, the assistant prosecutor, said officials need to set a better system of tracking fake 911 calls as he decried the shocking conduct. Obviously, some type of check or balance needs to exist, so this type of abuse is more quickly reported by EMS to law enforcement because 350 pointless ambulance runs is absolutely ridiculous. Well, I'm sorry, Crystal, but I live in a I live in a town and small town, and we've got the same daggone thing. Uh, you know, The things people will do for beauty, and apparently they're still okay with it. I went temporarily blind getting my eyeballs. Yes, that's right, eyeballs tattooed, but it was worth it. I mean, look at this person. Would she make a bad choice? Maybe one she regrets? No regrets, if you will. What am I looking at here? Australia's most tattooed woman who inked her own eyeballs revealed an insane detail about her body art as some enthusiasts and industry heavyweights descend on Brisbane for the Australian Tattoo Expo. Amber Luke, who calls herself Blue Eyes White Dragon. Oh my God, she's a fan of Sarah Boone. Are are we? She's the one that wrote the letter from Australia. She was like, blue-eyed or white dragon. She was talking about me. I feel seen. The event is being held in cities across Australia for the past 15 years, attracting more than 60,000 people through its doors each year. Luke, there we go. Uh, for why and what reason have you done this? And no, why? Okay. She got her eyes tattooed at the age of 22, the excruciating process rendering her blind for weeks. Okay. Speaking on the Apollo Show podcast earlier in July, Luke said the process was about taking something back that was never really mine in the first place. What in the hell is this e-thought talking about? No, I can't. People say these word salad sentences that mean absolutely nothing, and you're just supposed to shake your head and say, "That's very profound and deep," when all I'm looking at them and thinking, "That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life." Your sight was always yours. Your sight was always yours. You were born with it. Okay. Luke reveals that going blind once just wasn't enough for her. She recently returned to Brazil to have her eyeballs re-inked because, maintenance. I wanted to own that and say, you know what? I might have gone blind for 3 weeks, but it turned out to be quite an okay experience. That's like saying, I had a tapeworm once. It took out half of my colon, but, I got back something that was never really mine to begin with, my colon. I mean, what in the actual e-thoughtery am I listening to? Luke told the host, Adam Manikis, the way I saw it back then, it botched me for 3 weeks. I really wanted to make that completely separate to what it actually was. She told the podcast there were no complications and there were no pains. Luke explained the process involved a 1 millimeter syringe being injected into 2 pinpoints directly into her eyeball. Because, of course, my eye is solid blue. If done correctly, you feel no pain whatsoever. Luke revealed the first time her eyeballs were tattooed, she was left in severe pain. Maybe because you're not supposed to tattoo your eyeballs. I mean, never did I sit around and think, I'm just going to inject some dye into my eyeballs for funsies. It was the most intense, brutal pain of my life. Ma'am, you have tattoos very close to your nipular area, but your eyeballs is where you draw the line. Honestly, it felt like 10 shards of glass had been rubbed in my eye for 3 weeks. A spokesperson for the Tattoo Expo is dedicated to supporting the tattoo industry and increasing the community's growth. Maybe don't make this chick your head spokesperson. I'm just throwing it out there. Probably. Sal's going to come back with tattooed eyeballs. I don't know if this is what Baker is always talking about with tuna cans rattling, but a pro soccer game was suspended when fans rained fish cakes onto the field. Now, these do not look They look like an English muffin, so I am not quite she is. She's smelled the spice. She cannot do it. A professional soccer game was suspended in Norway when fans threw fish cakes and other objects onto the field to protest the use of video assisted referee or VAR. The Norwegian Eliters Eliteserien game between Roseborg BK and Lillestrøm was initially stopped mere minutes after kickoff due to fish cakes raining down on the field. I mean, if you don't have Cheetos, what are you going to throw? Uh, Players returned to the field from the locker room, but the game was stopped a second time when fans from both sides continued to throw fish cakes and started adding tennis balls and smoke bombs into the mix. Okay, so do you go to a football game with like a tactical vest on? I'm just asking because I can understand if like fish cakes are, a local snack like a hot dog, but who brings tennis balls and smoke bombs? I mean, I'm just asking for a friend. I think someone has a I have seen some soccer hooligans. If there's not a bandolier out there with, a place to attach your pendant for your team and a bunch of smoke bombs, I don't know. The game was officially suspended just after over a half an hour of play with the score 0-0. The protests surrounded the use of VAR, which fans and several supporter unions complain leads to referees taking too much time to make decisions, bringing games to long halts in the meantime. The league adopted VAR in 2023. Some fans at the game were seen holding a banner which read, "We never give up. VAR will go away." Lillestrøm said on social media that the game would be rescheduled. So there you are, guys. Oh, no, I do have another story. I was like, wait, I've got another story. Aurora alerts. So because of a giant geomagnetic storm, you might be able to see northern lights further south if you are into that kind of thing. I wanted to let you know, as a giant nerd, you might be able to see that later on this evening. Heightened solar activity has prompted the National Oceanographic Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center, to issue a geomagnetic storm watch for July 24th. The culprit, a plume of plasma and magnetic field known as a coronal mass ejection that was released from the sun on July 21st and is now barreling toward Earth due to arrive on the 24th. Recent predictions anticipate the arrival window between the early hours of July 24th, but there's a level of uncertainty about exact timing. Likely the storm will be fashionably late due to slow solar wind traffic and additional glancing storm blow ahead of it, space weather physicist Tamitha Skov reported on X. CMEs carry with them electrical charged atoms known as ions. When they collide with Earth's magnetosphere, they can trigger geomagnetic storms. During these storms, the ions collide with gases in the atmosphere and release energy in the form of light. We recognize this as the northern lights, or aurora borealis in the northern hemisphere, or southern lights, aurora australis, in the southern hemisphere. And Wolfram, thank you for gifting 5 memberships, and those went to Trina, Madita Finn, Oki Mima, and Nutmeg Queen, and Hak Tua. Thank you. That's a great name. I'm surprised. Thank you, Wolfram, for that. And if you guys got a membership, welcome to the Church of Mo. We have dark chocolate Oreos and sarcasm. I am all sciencey. Mr. Mo wouldn't let me watch Shark Week with him. I was like, but John Cena's really not in it. I just want to watch all the sharks and be afraid to ever go in the water again. So you guys just look outside. They're not quite sure how close to the 24th this is going to come in, but they did say that we might be able to see the northern lights a little further south than, where we normally see them, which would be cool because I mean, let's be honest, you guys. We have no idea where, our president is, really. We have Senate meetings where no one can answer a daggone question, and some guy made soap out of his own body fat yesterday evening, and I had to do a story on that. This is gonna get weirder than everything you can imagine. I can only imagine what the rest of the year is gonna bring. I say we make sure we have an extra pair of pants with us because this year has already been off the chain and it is getting offer. It makes grammatical sense. Zach isn't here. I'm gonna go with it. Let's see, guys. I am going to be working on a video for Fluffy to Fit-ish. I am going to try to clip out bits of the hearing yesterday for Politically Mo, and then I will be working on Newsy Nuggets. And then tonight I will have what? What? We are going to have all of these shenanigans without popcorn? I am trying to be good here. I am giving up most processed carbs. I am trying to be a good human being. I am trying to stay hydrated and motivated and a little bit Christianish, and they're taking away popcorn? It's a scary world out there. Anywho, I know things seem really strange and really weird. Oh, no, I know. But that's mean. That is so mean. I love popcorn. Actually, I love kettle corn. Kettle corn is the bane of my existence because you go and you have a giant bag and you're like, I'm never gonna finish this. And then you look at this bag carcass next to you and you're like, how did I finish this? Just very, very strange. Anywho, you guys, I am going to get off of here. I am sending you to Baker. He is getting ready for the ballerina Black Swan trial. And I am going to be sending out those craft kits. So if any one of you sees Jill Sturgis, I'm trying to get a hold of her to get her address to send her craft that she won on the giveaway stream. But I hope you guys have a great day. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and, laugh at the absurdity because if we don't laugh at it, we're just going to cry. So have a great day, guys. I will see you in a little bit. Bye.